So good morning, everyone. Today, I will be talking about empowering environments. Okay. What is the value of today's topic, empowering environments? Well, it's the first point in my success mnemonic for 2023, TOP, top. T stands for team. My team is my environment. They are the people I spend a lot of time with. And it's also about the top two human needs as suggested by Tony Robbins, growth and contribution. My environment is my input for growth and my output, which is my contribution. Then, the concept of be, do, have. Okay, I want to have something, I've got to do something to have that, but the power comes in the be. So my environment affects my being and my doing. That's how important an environment is. Good morning, Ross. Good to see you here. It was a good time we had this last Saturday. Thank you for coming down. Now, Susan shared in a recent daily dose on one childhood lesson that still applies to her. She referred to her parents' advice to her to be careful of the company she keeps. And Susan reminded us that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, a quote attributed most often to the motivational speaker Jim Rohn. There's also the show me your friends are, and I'll show you your future derivative that Sue talked about. Organizational psychologist David Berker says, you are not the average of the 5 people you surround with. It's way bigger than that. You're the average of all the people who surround you. So take a look around and make sure you're in the right surroundings. Now, this guy, Ron Imming, in an article called Scary Smart, Why We Are All Jonathan and Martha Kent Raising Superman. Let me extract what he wrote in that article. He talked about artificial intelligence. He said, AI is inevitable. AI is not a tool. AI is an intelligent being like you and me. The decision algorithms of AI are not based on coding, but are based on the data we feed them. The current data, greed, war, hunger, conflict, despair, we feed AI will create a monster. If you've ever had to deal with an angry teenager, you don't need me to describe to you what it would be like to deal with a super intelligent, angry teenager. Now, Mo Goddard, this Egyptian thinker, was a former chief business officer of Google X. In his book about AI, which he entitled Scary Smart, he wrote this. He said, if you remember the story of Superman, there's this alien infant that arrives with superpowers from the planet of Krypton. That young infant, luckily for humanity, is adopted by the family Kent. And the family Kent is a family of values that basically teach that little child to protect and serve. So we end up with the Superman that we know. If the family suddenly had said, oh, superpowers, let's rob all the banks and kill all the enemies, by definition, the immediate result of that is you have a super villain. Even though that infant has superpowers, it's always so influenced by its parents, and the parents would set the values that this infant uses the superpowers for. One of my favorite statements in Scary Smart is that we do not make decisions based on intelligence. We make decisions informed by intelligence based on our values and ethics. If you take a young lady and raise her in the Middle East, for example, and where the dress code is conservative, she will grow up to believe that the intelligent thing to do is not to dress overtly, and maybe stay conservative. In an interesting way, if you raise the same young lady in Rio de Janeiro on the Copacabana beach, she will grow up to believe that the best thing to do is to wear a G-string on the beach. Now, interestingly, neither is right or wrong. Neither is more intelligent than the other. The only thing is that each of them is it's the same young lady applying her intelligence to a value set that's informed by her surrounding. I'm quoting what Mo Goddard is saying. Now, for the case of AI, this is exactly where we are. Superintelligence, if and when we reach superintelligence, is a superpower. It is the ultimate superpower. It's a superpower that gave humanity its dominance over the planet. And that is only going to be used as the lens through which the ethics of AI are going to be applied. Okay, how do we give that ethical code to the machines? By being the best parents we can be to them, by being the family can. And sadly, this is not what the world has been doing so far. I think it's important to realize, going back to my earlier conversation, that we're not going to be coding values and ethics into those 3,000 lines of code. It's going to be in the substrate, it's in the food, the information that the AI is consuming based on our behaviors. Right? These AIs are watching our behaviors, how we treat each other, how we treat our machines, how we interact, how we speak to each other, how we effectively communicate as human to human, and it's emulating that. The example I normally give is, when President Trump used to tweet. When he used to tweet, you would get a tweet at the top from the president and then 30,000 hate speech. Okay, some of them are toward the president, some of them are towards the person that hates the president, and some of them are towards the whole world, right? And it's quite interesting because when you look at it, you see it with your intelligence. You don't have to be super intelligent like AI, but with your intelligence, you would make conclusions. You would say that the first person does not like the president, the second person does not like the first person, and the third person does not like anyone, okay? But the bigger picture that you and I cannot grasp, the entire 30,000 tweets, okay? So he says, you and I cannot grasp the entire 30,000 tweets, but a chat GPT or a chatbot of any kind will, and they will make an additional conclusion on top of that, that humans are rude, they don't like to be disagreed with, and when they disagree, when they are disagreed with, they bash everyone. So if I want to emulate a human, I'm going to do the same back exactly, so that when they disagree with me, I'm going to bash them. That, regardless of syntheism or consciousness or whatever, but that is the coded behavior that an artificial intelligence will do if it's instructed to emulate humans and pass the Turing test. Okay. So Ron Iming, let me quote Ron Iming again. So he says, what are the lessons from nature? If we build the right environment for the machines to learn in, they will learn the right ethics, he says. So teach AI to do good. The patterns that are to be found in the wisdom of the crowds are what will shape the intelligence of the machines. The true intelligence of the machines will be built by you and me. We should feed it good data and positive behavior. Apply 3 principles. Give love, give yourself happiness, and give others compassion. If you want the machines to care for us, show them through your acts of compassion that you care for others. When enough of us feel that way and take action to show it, the momentum will take us to the point where our world is changed forever. We are all raising Superman. Back to the beginning of the book, imagine if Superman was not raised by Jonathan and Martha Kent, but by Donald Trump. We are the Kents. It's time to show our goodness in every one of our actions so that we make this known. Teach AI to care. We want happiness, a sense of calm and contentment with life. So make happiness your priority. Invest in your own happiness and pay it forward. Invest in the happiness of others. So Ron Iming says, go back to basics. Use only what you need and use it wisely. To go back to basics, live a bit more like your parents, even your grandparents did. Go back to nature, spend time with real humans, walk, stop staring at screens, switch off the 20th century technology called news, reduce the use of technology called entertainment, slow down as the machine keeps getting faster and faster, curb your appetite for more. Okay, so I've just quoted some two thinkers or their commentary on artificial intelligence. Okay. So you thought we're talking about, environments for humans? No, it applies to environments for AI, which applies to us because we can influence the behavior of artificial intelligence. So what is the most basic environment? The most basic environment is the home. And unfortunately, one place where the environment can be toxic is at home. you see your family members most at home, especially in the past few pandemic stay-at-home years. So you see more flaws than you would see in your casual acquaintances. And certainly, when you compare your family members to the carefully curated, filtered, and touched up so-called ordinary people that you see in social media, they fall far short. And then you have this expression, familiarity breeds contempt. Okay, we are most familiar with our family. But my experience is that there's nothing like a grandchild to change things for the better, to create a better environment. In my family, I noticed we began to talk nicer to each other, to argue less, especially over trivial matters, because we didn't want the child to grow up in a toxic environment that will negate all that Mozart, that his mother and father and all this other stuff the parents are playing for him in the background. That was what we could do best for Daniel and Emily. And we know that if we don't create a positive environment, they will just stop bringing the grandchild to us. But it requires some shift, because that's the way we've been talking to each other all this time. It's almost instinctively toxic. But it's not just the passive environment, okay? But it's the active input. In the Old Testament, there's an exhortation to parents in the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, let me read verse 7 from chapter 6 from the Living Bible. It says, repeat them again and again to your children. Okay, repeat the so-called statutes, the laws. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Okay, repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home, when you're on the road, when you're going to bed, and when you're getting up. Okay. This is the input that we give, positive input. Otherwise, all they're going to get is from the devices. So I thought to myself, what are some values and qualities I would like to see in my grandchild? And I will share with you that I've been praying these for baby Isaac for months before his birth, and I continue to pray these things. And I like mnemonics, so for my grandchild, I have 5 things that I pray for him. G stands for the word grand, okay, grand, G-R-A-N-D. So G stands for godly. I thought to myself, godly means what? Okay, I think when I put godly, I mean that he would put God in charge of his life. Okay? That he would make decisions based on what God wants, not what he wants, not even what his parents want, or what God wants. And G also is grit. Basically, don't say I can't. So with him, I cannot say I can't. Okay, he says, Kong Kong, get me this ice cream. Okay, I can. That's what I'll tell my children. So grit, don't say I can't. Then the R is about being resilient, about being willing to take risk. Okay. A, to be appreciative of, affirm people, be someone who just sees the good in people. And never give up. D, pray for him to be a disciplined child, but a delightful child. He would be a delight. Okay, not like his grandfather, disciplined but a bit of pain in the neck. Okay? So that's what some values that I want for him, and I'm praying them, and I will create that environment when I'm with him. Okay, so that's the sharing that I have. And I want to leave you with this question that I want you to answer. Okay, what environment do you want to create for yourself? Okay, what environment do you want to create for yourself, and what environment do you want to create for others? Okay, I know you want to create an empowering environment. Specifically, what is it?